My name is Emily. I have twin daughters and a husband named Joshua. I became a stay-at-home mom after getting married, dedicating myself to raising our kids. Joshua hardly participated in parenting. And there was a reason for that. I wanted a boy, not a girl. And why twins? That's just my bad luck. Don't talk like that. Our daughters are adorable, right? I'm a CEO, you know? I wanted to pass my company on, but that's impossible with girls. Joshua co-founded and ran a company with a friend, supporting each other as business partners. He lost interest in our children the moment he knew they were girls. I thought he might change once they were born, but he didn't. Hey, you're their father. Pay some attention to them. I told you I don't need girls. I would have loved a boy, but not a girl. Why not? Girls are just as lovely. It's not about being cute or not. Girls aren't useful, right? Most successful CEOs are men. And girls eventually marry off, so why spend money on someone who won't be part of the family? I don't want to waste money, even if I have it. Joshua was always complaining. Realizing that arguing was futile, I stopped seeking his help. He used to help with household chores, but that stopped after our daughters were born. And he began complaining even more. What's this for dinner? I provide the money, and this is all you can make? I think it's pretty much. My family used to serve more dishes daily. And your cooking is always bland. You always make things I don't like. Eating only what you like isn't healthy. I try to balance the menu. I don't care about balance. Just make what I like. Today's dinner is inedible. I'm eating out. What about the leftovers? Who cares? Toss that garbage. Joshua didn't hesitate to yell in front of our daughters. They seemed scared of him. I was fed up with this life, but I had a reason I couldn't leave. I didn't have the money to support my daughters alone. I didn't want to worry my parents, so I couldn't ask for their help. But an unexpected end to this came. I'm moving in with my pregnant mistress starting tomorrow. You and the girls, who are useless to me, get out. Joshua brought a young woman home and said this to me. I was speechless. The woman, in her early 20s, was much younger than 35-year-old Joshua. Smirking and holding her belly, she said, "Sorry, but I'm pregnant, so please leave Joshua." I would be in trouble if you suddenly said something like that. I also have daughters. You have daughters, right? But Joshua wanted a son, and I'm carrying his son. He wants to care for my son, not your daughters. Right, I don't care about you three. I'll pay you, so just divorce me. He handed me divorce papers with his name already on them. I just stood there, unable to react. I get you're shocked, but it's your fault for having girls. What about the girls? They're only 2. Annoyed, Joshua threw a large bag at me. This bag contains $200,000 for child support and alimony. You're happy as long as you get money, right? I wish I had some money too. Don't worry, Diana. I'll buy you anything you want from now on. I only love you and the baby in your belly. Yay! As they displayed their affection in front of me, I decided to divorce Joshua. I couldn't stand being with him anymore. Okay. Let's get divorced. Joshua smiled happily at my words. Then, I packed my things and took my daughters back to my parents' house. They were shocked by our sudden return, but after explaining, they encouraged me. I can't believe this happened. Why didn't you talk to us sooner? I didn't want to worry you. You've always been so considerate. It's really unforgivable what Joshua has done. I never thought he would be the kind of person to betray Emily and the girls so blatantly. Should I give Joshua a piece of my mind? No, I don't want anything to do with him anymore. I appreciate your concern, though. All right. I had never spoken to my parents about Joshua before. They had been happy about our marriage, so it was hard to talk about him. Joshua, being a CEO, had a good public image. So my parents were quite shocked to learn his true nature. I decided to rest at my parents' house for a while. Since I couldn't rely on them forever, I started working at a company my dad introduced me to. I was hired as a full-time employee with decent pay. With the $200,000 from Joshua, I didn't have to worry about money. Gradually, I began to feel better, and memories of Joshua faded. He remarried Diana soon after our divorce. I didn't want to hear any more about him, so I ignored the rumors. Then one day, out of the blue, Joshua called me. I ignored his calls at first, but he kept calling, so I finally answered. What? Oh, finally! Joshua was panicked and shouted over the phone. Damn it! I was deceived by that woman. You mean Diana? Yes. I thought she was having a boy, but it turned out to be a girl. You didn't know until the baby was born? No, the baby was always a girl. She showed me fake ultrasound pictures from the internet. She lied to marry me. Well, that means Diana really wanted to marry you. Isn't that a happy thing? Take good care of her and the baby. That's not the point. Joshua continued ranting. I wanted to hang up, but he kept talking. He told me things I didn't know. But honestly, I didn't care. She didn't love me, she loved my money. She lied about the baby being a boy just to marry me. But the baby is still yours, right? Yeah. I investigated and it turns out the baby is mine. Then you should take responsibility and raise her. Parenting is hard, but you should work together with Diana. But Diana ran away. What? I was shocked to hear that. When I listened to his story, it revealed that Diana had fled after her lies were exposed, leaving the baby behind. I spent over $200,000 on her, even bought her a car. That's too bad. Now I'm broke. She took all my savings. I can't help you with that. You should work hard from now on. Hey, you're my ex-wife. Can't you show a little concern? Why would I care about my ex-husband who cheated and kicked me out? Honestly, I think you got what you deserved. What? When did you become so cheeky? Maybe living with you twisted my personality a bit. Anyway, I don't want to know about you. So goodbye. Hey, wait! Joshua called out, but I unilaterally hung up the phone and set it to block his calls. Initially, I never thought Joshua would contact me after our divorce, so I had forgotten to set the block. However, Joshua wasn't the type to give up easily. Incredibly, he showed up at my parents' house with his former mother-in-law, holding the daughter he had with his mistress, Diana. His former mother-in-law was the stereotypical meddling mother-in-law. During our marriage, she often said things like, "You're not good enough for Joshua and it's shameful to have daughters." It seems she always doted on Joshua since he was good at academics. Indeed, Joshua was talented, but being spoiled by his mother might have turned him into a selfish man. My parents tried to send the two away, but they wouldn't leave, so I had to deal with them. As soon as they saw me, they started shouting. You! Ignoring my calls! Yeah! Joshua is offering to get back together with you, so stop being stubborn and accept it. You can't live without Joshua's financial support, right? I have no intention of getting back together. Could you please leave? You're causing trouble, I said firmly, glaring at them. I had never stood up to them during my marriage, so they seemed a bit surprised. What? That's no way to talk to your mother-in-law. We came all this way to give you a chance to make things right. Nobody asked for this. It's actually a nuisance. I'm happy living with my parents and daughters. Please don't bother us. But you're not working, right? The money I gave you will run out eventually. Haven't you thought about what happens then? Your parents won't live forever. They might pass away any day now. Could you please not say such disrespectful things in front of my parents? I'm working at a company my father introduced me to, and I'm not without income. Working? I bet the company you work for isn't anything special. You can't support 2 daughters on just $2,000. Actually, I'm making about $6,000 net. What? He had always looked down on me, but I had a decent income even before we were married. I used to be a systems engineer with considerable experience. The company I'm working for now hired me for my skills, though having a connection through my father also helped. Joshua, who runs an IT company, should have known how much I earned when I was single, but apparently, he didn't. I thought that he had some idea of how much money I earned when I was single, but apparently that wasn't the case. He seemed to have a preconceived notion that women equal low income. You're earning that much? Yes. I'm valued at the company and earn more than other mid-career employees. What? Joshua clicked his tongue in frustration, clearly upset that a woman he looked down upon was somewhat successful. But $6,000 isn't enough to raise 2 kids, right? So far, it hasn't been a problem. Are you guys the ones in trouble? Did you come here thinking I would help you? I don't need you. I came here to offer you a chance to get back together. I know about your company. Huh? When I mentioned his company, it made him visibly pale. Right now, your staff has reduced significantly, and you're barely avoiding running at a loss. You've been going out for sales yourself since you don't have many sales employees left. How do you know that? I work in the same industry, so I inevitably hear things. The infidelity incident became known to the other employees, and they started to keep their distance from Joshua. His co-founder friend also left him and started a new company. Then, many employees moved to the friend's company, reducing Joshua's staff by half. As the competent employees left first, the company's operations began to suffer. After his friend left, clients stopped dealing with Joshua's company and recontracted with his friend's new company. His business was on the brink of bankruptcy, barely managing to pay the employees' salaries. Then, Joshua made an absurd proposal. Then, how about you come work for me? What? I already have a job. I'll pay you the same salary as your current job. There's a lot you can do at my company, and it would really help if you joined. Can you keep the jokes to your face? Who would want to work for a company on the brink of bankruptcy? Sorry, but I have no intention of leaving my current job, and there's no chance of getting back together with you. You're really persistent. As I firmly rejected him, Joshua looked deeply shocked. Unable to bear the sight of her son like this, his mother chimed in. Hey! He's trying to make amends, so just accept it. For your daughter's sake, it's better to have a father, right? Being a single mother isn't looked upon favorably, you know? If he's the kind of father you're talking about, we're better off without him. Even when we were married, he never showed any love for my daughters. They've already said they don't want to live with him anymore. We don't need Joshua. Shocked by my words, Joshua's eyes teared up. Meanwhile, his mother grew even more furious. Don't hurt my son anymore. Whose fault do you think it is that things have come to this? Excuse me? I think it's Joshua's fault for betraying us. He told me that if you had been a better wife, he wouldn't have cheated. So, it's partly your fault he cheated, right? So you're justifying infidelity? If your husband had cheated, would you accept it as your fault and forgive him? That's not the point. Don't change the subject. We're talking about you right now. Despite her insistence on reconciling, I refused. Then, she said something outrageous. If you won't get back together with Joshua, return the $200,000. He's almost bankrupt and in trouble because that woman took his money. He gave you that money out of kindness, you have no right to it. That money is being used for my daughter's education. Joshua gave it to me as alimony and child support. Considering it's for their support until they're 20, I'd say it's actually not enough. You're trying to take more money from him? Are you a monster? I won't do that. It doesn't seem like he would pay even if I asked. Then get back together with my son. You're the one who should be raising your daughter. Talking to her was just going in circles and a waste of time. I was so frustrated with her unreasonable behavior that I could only sigh. My parents were getting irritated with them for not leaving. Can you please leave now? We have nothing to discuss with you. Stop meddling in our daughter's life. We don't want our daughters and granddaughters living with such unreasonable people. Please leave. How dare you call your daughter's parents unreasonable? Like a parent, like a child, I see. That's our line. Who shouts loudly in someone else's house, especially on a Sunday morning? You're the ones lacking common sense. It was about 8 a.m. on a Sunday. They had arrived around 7 a.m. And we had been talking for almost an hour. As I wondered what to do, my daughters came from behind. They had been asleep but woke up because of the noise at the front door. Dad and Grandma? Seeing them, the girls made a face of clear distaste. They disliked not only their father but also their former grandmother, who never showed them affection and always had snide remarks. Joshua's mother, like Joshua, had wanted a boy for succession. Seeing his daughters, Joshua, already disheartened, clung to them. It's been a while. I came to pick up the three of you. I've missed you both. He spoke with a forced smile, but the girls didn't respond. They just stared at him with serious faces. What? What are you doing here? I came to see you. You must be happy to see your dad after such a long time, right? Joshua tried to smile and engage them, but they clearly weren't going to agree. The daughter's eyes were cold as ice. Mom said we're not living with Dad anymore, right? We were told we don't have to see him again. Didn't you girls want to see your dad? We don't want to. He's always mean to Mom. And we don't like Grandma either, she always makes Mom cry. What? Such impudent children. This is why I dislike girls. Daughters are just not lovable. That's why we don't like it when you always say girls this, girls that. Grandma, you're a woman too, right? If women are bad, does that mean Grandma is bad too? The former mother-in-law was silenced by my daughter's argument, unable to retort. Then Joshua tried again to speak to them. If you live with Dad, I'll buy you anything you want. You wanted a playset, right? We got the playset from Grandma, so we don't need it. Well, how about a video game then? It is coming for Christmas, so we don't need it either. Don't say such sad things. If you're with your father, you can have anything you want. You girls have a lot of things you want, right? Even if we want things, we don't want Dad. If it means living with Dad, we don't need toys or games. What's that supposed to mean? Joshua was visibly shrinking as he was rejected by his daughters. Then they suddenly left and returned, taking surprising action. Get out, mean monster who hurts Mom. Time to defeat the mean monster. The girls had brought dolls and started throwing it at Joshua and his mother, mimicking a scene they saw on TV where villains were sprinkled with salt. Stop that, both of you! Grandma is getting angry. Grandma is always angry. Just leave. You brats. I won't hold back just because you're kids. The former mother-in-law lashed out in a rage, trying to grab them. My father intervened, stopping her from hitting the girls. How dare you treat my granddaughters like that? It's their fault for throwing something. You and your family are uneducated. I'll take these kids and educate them properly. Joshua's mother tried to forcibly take the girls, who were strong until now but began crying. Is something wrong? I looked up to see our neighbor standing at the door, drawn by the crying. He was unaware of Joshua and his former mother-in-law. After I briefly explained the situation, he scolded them on our behalf. If you have no connection with this family anymore, it's pitiful to linger. Please go home. Mind your own business. This has nothing to do with you. Although Joshua had quieted down, his mother's fury was unstoppable. Our neighbor, dismayed, called a police officer he knew. Soon, the officer arrived and took them into the police station. Joshua looked at me with tearful eyes. You really won't give us another chance? Who would want to restart things with you? But I'm worried about our daughters. Don't try to act like a good father now. It's too late. No, I want to live with you three. I've reflected on my past mistakes. You are all I have. You still have your beloved mother. Good luck with your nearly bankrupt company. Shocked by my words, Joshua started crying even in front of the officer. My daughters were appalled. Dad is crying even though he's an adult. Mom, Dad really is uncool. Joshua seemed even more shocked by their words. Eventually, the police took them away. They were severely reprimanded at the station. After that incident, they never came to our house again. The commotion made them infamous in a bad way. Perhaps they were too ashamed to show their faces. I didn't want to see them again, so maybe it was for the best. From what I heard, Joshua lost contact with the woman and was left to raise his daughter alone. His company failed, and he was saddled with debts. The company also had some debt, so it seems that he had to take on debt. The woman had also made debts in his name, adding to his troubles. My former mother-in-law, having sided with Joshua, was abandoned by her husband. She was divorced and kicked out of the house. Later, my former father-in-law apologized. A sensible man unlike the other two. He had scolded Joshua when we decided to divorce. Now, Joshua and his mother live together, barely getting by with her looking after the child and him working part-time. Given her age, it's unlikely she can continue much longer. As for me, I'm living peacefully with my parents and daughters. Watching my girls grow up is my greatest joy. Work is going smoothly, and I'm engaged with a sense of fulfillment. I want to keep moving forward, always remembering to be grateful to those who support me.